Just one more year and then you'd be...
Gerry Rafferty's Baker Street is one of the most instantly recognisable and most enduring pop songs ever.
It's just so epic. It's so epic.
I remember thinking, this is just amazing. This is Gerry Rafferty, this is extraordinary, this is Scottish.
It's an astonishing record, and sonically, an amazing piece of work.
When the intro comes in, it sort of sucks you in. It's like you're going through a dark tunnel, but with sort of nice fishy lights flashing. And then you get down to the end of the tunnel, and the doors open, and all the lights come on, and it's da-da-da-da-da-da, and you've gone to Hollywood.
Winding your way down on Baker Street, light in your head and dead on your feet. Well, another crazy day. You'll drink the night away and forget about everything.
Then he sings his story, and then the sax riff comes in and hits you again. And then it comes to a whole other bit where it sort of goes into space, and Huey Burns is going, ear, 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 on his guitar.
I guess you'd call them organic sounds, animal sounds, seagull sounds, anything like that. I wasn't quite sure what to play. They just played me the track a few times. After a few takes, basically that's what came out. So it was just a lucky day for me.
A myth has prevailed that the saxophone player actually wrote the line and was not given the full credit.
I bet you anything you like, Gerry wrote every note of that solo, because that's what he was like.
It was in the early demos where he played it on a little electric guitar himself.
In 1978, Baker Street was a smash hit on both sides of the Atlantic, clocking up 5 million radio plays in the US to date.
Gerry became, if you like, the voice incarnate of FM radio in America. I remember driving from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and every channel you hopped from, there was Gerry Rafferty. It was extraordinary.
But the spectacular scale of this success wasn't something that Gerry Rafferty, a deeply private man, readily embraced. His diffidence is evident in this rare public appearance, picking up the award for the best single of 1978 at the British Rock and Pop Awards.
Congratulations, Gerry.
Thanks a lot.
Fantastic. How do you feel at this particular moment?
Absolutely wonderful. Yes.
Terrific.
You better take it. There you go. Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's go.
Gerry Rafferty died at the beginning of 2011 at the age of 63. Mourners at his funeral in Paisley included Scotland's First Minister, old friends and fans from as far away as New York. His daughter Martha and her cousins performed one of his songs in the family tradition of singing in harmony.
Whatever's written in your heart, that's all that matters. We'll find a way to sing it all someday.
Rafferty's life is written in the words and music of his songs. Family Tree recalls a childhood with music at its heart.
We can feel the harmonies. You sit there waiting in the rain. How long have you been waiting to let your light shine? Many years have gone since then.
Gerry was the youngest son of a Paisley working-class Catholic family. His older brothers Joe and Jim were both keen on singing.
When I was small, we were singing at parties, myself, my two brothers and all the family and relatives. I was aware that my elder brother Joe would occasionally be singing a different tune from me. And I was really intrigued by this. And I said to him, you know, when we were singing a few nights ago, I said, what is that thing that you do when I'm singing and you sing a different tune? He said, oh, it's called harmonising. And within a year or two, I could sing second and sort of third part harmonies. And it was just like this amazing, magical world opening up.
That song is about the idea of the family coming together, which is very much part of an Irish traditional thing. You know, families would come together and they would sing before they had TV and the internet, and that's what they did, you know, the Raffertys.
When we were young, we used to sing.
My father, he was tone deaf. He was actually physically deaf as well, because he had punctured his eardrum working as a coal miner. But he used to love to tap his foot. He'd be trying to get into the beat. He said, we used to say, play some with a bit of swing, son.
Was he black, your father?
He's one of the black Irish.
After leaving school, Gerry teamed up with fellow Paisley buddy Joe Egan in beat group Mavericks. In 1966, as The Fifth Column, they made their recording debut.
I don't even think we were in our 20s at that point, you know. Two of the songs we did with Columbia Records.
They were getting sort of groomed to be a pop band rather than an original sound. They had a song called Benjamin Day, for which Gerald and I collaborated on the words, the lyrics of that.
Straight from a fairy tale. He'd open up
A certain tweetness about it. I freely admit it was kind of, it was more like a children's favourites. But it was a nice tune, yeah, with a melody to it.
I still recall the stories he would tell us.
And that was a main method of conversation with Gerry Rafferty, was to sing with him, right? He did really let people in who could sing with him.
I think he had decided then that there was a possibility of him making a career out of it, and began writing songs with quite a distinct McCartney-esque influence.
But there's nobody here. I rang the bell and knocked the door. She don't live here.
The single, There's Nobody Here, was not a hit.
It didn't do anything, I have to say, you know, so Gerry, I think, at that point teamed up with Billy Connolly and Tom Harvey and the Humble Bums.
My Dixie darling, listen to this song I sing.
They'd both had hair down to their arses and these buckskin jackets and cowboy boots, stuff like that. And Billy was thrashing away to this banjo like a man possessed.
Gerry came up to me after the concert and said, God, you know, that was funny and I liked your stuff and blah, blah, blah. I'm a songwriter myself, and I thought, oh, God, another one. You know, you were constantly being approached by songwriters in the folk scene, and it was all about rain running down the window and how I miss you, you know. Went up for a few beers to his house and he played the songs. And I thought, who's this guy kidding? He's learned these from a record or something. He never wrote these. It was like Paul McCartney coming up and saying, I write songs, you know, would you like to hear one? Yesterday, what?
Well, hear me talking, blood and glory. I'm fed up walking, blood and glory. I'll tell a story.
So it was a symbiotic relationship. Each got so much from the other, and each was an absolute character, an individual in themselves, but together they were great.
Patrick, my primitive painter of art, you will always endeavor.
Artist John Byrne, the inspiration for this song, designed the artwork for the new Humble Bums album, the first of many covers.
We will always be with you, Jockey Melly and me.
I had never heard anything quite like it. I look back at it now and I think, they were just boys. And, for Scottish men in particular to stand up and sing about deep felt emotions like that, I think was difficult. So in some ways I think it suited him quite well to be able to have someone behind whom he could stand.
I was just a guy who knew tunes, knew songs. I still am. But he was a musician and I'll never be one of them.
There were some pretty difficult gigs where an audience was, a student gig or something where the audience was a bit loud and Gerry wanted just total quiet.
And he would not make eye contact with the audience. Now, he had a cast in his eye, and I think it embarrassed him, so he would take an eye line away from people, which, of course, I'm sure many people thought, well, that's very aloof, he's not looking at us, he's not really speaking to us. But I think his work that was it, the songs. If that wasn't enough for you, you shouldn't have been there.
He jumped off the stage once and decked somebody, and we had a police escort out of Taunton. But Gerry probably did more gigs with the Humble Bums than he ever did in the whole of his career after that.
You feel so good when she comes to meet you.
Sometimes I would do a little accompaniment, sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes I would get ready to do the accompaniment and he would say, I'm doing this on my own. And my footsteps would be heard clunking off into the wings. I thought he would make me better. And he did, but he got better too. So the gap remained of the musical class.
But that became very painful for Billy because what tended to happen was that a lot of emphasis was put on Gerry's material, and then when Billy came to do his stuff, he was kind of almost left on his own, and Gerry would almost go to the pub.
If you go through the Humble Bums albums, you'll find that he's in all of my songs and I'm in none of his. Because he would go into the studio and go over my bits, he'd have me taken off and go over them. Was he right or wrong to do that? I would say right. He was a perfectionist, and perfectionists must perfect. So off he went on his perfecting way.
You say that I am out of touch.
And so, Billy and Gerry parted musical company, each having left an indelible mark on the other.
Well, I saw this large figure of a man striding down Baker Street with a pair of tartan trousers on, and I thought, my goodness, that's Billy Connolly. So I went up and tapped him on the shoulder.
And she said, excuse me, yeah. I'm Martha. Oh, my God. I gave her a cuddle, and then I saw the staggering resemblance to her dad as she was speaking to me.
And I was looking at Billy thinking how much he was like my dad. And also for me, it was quite poignant because Billy still had a lot of energy, and I could see a lot of how my dad would have been if he hadn't, started drinking.
We were both piss artists. We were both young and strong, and so it didn't really affect us. It dug in later. And I had a meeting with him in London about 10 years before his death, and we were in Langan's restaurant, and he was drinking Calvados, that apple brandy. He had about 10 or 12 with lunch. And big ones, and I thought, oh, God almighty. So I had read somewhere with alcoholics, you should tell them once and not twice, or ask them, So I said, listen, are you okay with us drinking? Do you feel comfortable with your drinking? And they said, yeah, it's not a problem. I said, okay. And that was all I ever said to him about drinking.
I don't hear what you're saying, don't give
In 1971, the Humble Bums were still signed to Transatlantic Records. Gerry was given the opportunity to fulfill their contractual obligations by recording a solo album. Featuring collaborations with old friends including Joe Egan, Rab Noakes and John Byrne, it was produced by Hugh Murphy and wryly entitled, Can I Have My Money Back?
I don't hear what you're saying, don't get what you're doing. Can I have my money back, money back, money back? Can I have my money back, please, sir?
During the course of recording Can I Have My Money Back, Gerry invited me to take part in the record on a song, Mary Skeffington, Gerry's mother. It's quite matter of fact, but it's not without passion, it's not without love and respect.
Mary Skeffington, when you wake, you mustn't be afraid to face another day.
It was just the two of us, two voices, two guitars sitting facing each other, which is a nice way to record. I did a little fingerstyle thing, he did a strum.
Look back in a home where you spent the best years of your life. Remember a man who asked you if you would be his wife. Mary Skeffington, close your eyes and make believe that you are just a girl again.
I'm glad it exists like that because it is a kind of representation, if you like, of what we sounded like as Steelers Wheel, the performing Steelers Wheel in the summer of 1971.
But you put something better inside of me.
The formation of Steelers Wheel reunited Gerry with Joe Egan. The band signed to A&M Records and prepared to record their first album. It was to be produced by legendary American songwriters Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller.
We were a bit in awe of their reputations, of course, and we're just young and just starting out and all that kind of stuff, but they really made us feel, like at ease, just almost immediately. They were great to work with, I thought, anyway.
Of course, they're rock and roll royalty from the time of the 1950s, and they gave it a cachet.